And then this is Steven. He is one of our newest members. He's our investigator in training, and he has extensive background in audio production, which translates really well into paranormal investigation because have him run through EVPs, he can figure out if it's natural, if it's something paranormal, clean it up a little bit, make it a little bit better, and then make our videos better too.
Yeah, good catch.
And then we have one other investigator who was unable to get their weekend off from work, who was not able to be here, but this is 75% of the team. So I thank you all for being here.
Yes, thank you.
And then one little discussion that we had a little while back already hit on a couple of the points that we want to talk about, like how to tell the story, how to grab people's attentions, and like show the location as well as showing the pieces of evidence, because nowadays a lot of teams just go out there, they get the evidence, and that's the end of it. They capture it, they take it, and then that's all. And to really grab your audience, you really need to tell a story behind that, which in today's day and age, like we were talking about, like people want instant gratification. But at the same time, if you can grab them with a story that that tells about the location, that tells the history, that allows them to connect with the location before you show them the evidence, then that is going to be more likely to stick with them for a longer time and keep them coming back to watch your stuff over, have them tell other people about you, and have them want to know what you know and want to see what you can capture and produce. So how many of you have used video before while doing paranormal investigations, or just in general?
Just you guys?
I think video is important, very important too.
So video is one of the most important aspects of paranormal investigation, and not just for capturing evidence on video, but to show the location, to capture your reactions to what's going on, because most of the time the experiences you have as a paranormal investigator are just going to be what you see or hear personally, or what you're feeling, and you're not going to be able to document that always through fancy equipment. Most of the time it's just the personal feelings that you get when you walk through like an energy form, or when you hear voices, or you see shadow figures moving at the end of the hallway. You might see that with your own eyes, but your camera's not going to see it. But still by having the camera rolling, you can go back and document that, be like, hey, I just saw a shadow figure down at the end of this hallway, and you can record your personal experiences that way.
Expression is really genuine if it's genuine. I mean, it sounds a little redundant, possibly a little, dumb now that I say it that way. But when you see something that you can't explain, and somebody happens to be rolling a camera in your face, the people that are on the other end of that can see it. They can see it in your face. I mean, your eyeballs ain't gonna lie even if you're smiling, you're terrified. I mean, there's a truth to that. So it's not just capturing whatever apparition or movie, whatever, or voice, or blah, blah, blah. It's not all about, it's about capturing the people, because we're all people. When you see these documentaries on film, because we still use them, and you see the reactions of the people. You as a person can then empathize with that, because you can place yourself in their shoes. Like, I can see the look of wonder or terror or complete intrigue and curiosity on their face, and you can relate to that. And then that kind of justifies their feelings, because you justify it for them. Because if nobody feels what you're feeling, if they're not on the same level as you, and they can't really connect on that level, then you've lost them completely, and there's no reason for it. Mm-hmm. So documentation of the people and their reactions to the cool and awesome and maybe scary stuff that happens is just as important as capturing that hardcore evidence that everyone is looking for. Those Class A EVPs, those Class A apparitions, Class A poltergeist activity, all the really cool stuff that we want is just as important as this, as the facial expression, the people that are doing it.
People want to be able to connect with the people behind the camera, and they want to be able to see what that person looks like. They want to see what they're seeing and be able to feel what they're feeling. And video is a visual medium, which I know that goes without saying, but there's so much more to that statement than just on the surface. You we as people portray so much emotion through the face and through our body language. And like Stephen was saying, if you are genuinely experiencing something, you're genuinely going to have a reaction to that. And even watching through a TV screen or a computer screen, you can tell if it was faked, if it was forced, or if it's them genuinely, I cannot say that word, genuinely responding to whatever's happening in that moment.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about 3 different types of video production, paranormal investigation, 3 different levels of production. The first one is people that are doing just evidence reveal, whether through YouTube or with a private person, owners of an establishment, or whatever they're doing. The second would be for the people that are making like a YouTube web series or something for social media. And the third is the documentary, the filmmaking, really getting out there making like a feature-length paranormal film. So the evidence reveal, like I said, that's short video, audio clips. You're just kind of throwing something up there so people see what you caught, hear what you caught, etc. This works for about 90% of the paranormal investigators out there. Not everybody's going out there trying to make a TV series or whatever. But basically, how do we make that better? There are people, so many things you see on YouTube, it's like 10 seconds long. They have a video or they have an audio clip, maybe a title card that says what it is, says what they're saying, says what the video is, where they captured it, whatever. At the basis, if you're using video, you're doing some sort of filmmaking. And filmmaking is storytelling. So you're telling the story of the event that happened, even with just your evidence reveal. Even if you're just showing an EVP, like, hey, we got this EVP, this is how we captured it, this is what was going on, this is where we were, this is what we think it says. All that kind of goes into that. You're really telling the story of what this EVP is. Like I said, have a title card. Tell where you were. Tell what you were running. Tell who was there. All that kind of stuff. And you're going to want to repeat your evidence several times over. A lot of people just show it once or twice. You want to have that 3-4 times so that people really see what it was, really get a chance to hear it without having to get tinnitus going back and forth through the video on there.
Or watch a video on YouTube ads.
Yeah.
But hey, that's the price of having free videos on YouTube, so I guess you can't complain too much.
Price to pay. Or you could even do a voiceover. Just record on there, record yourself talking. Hey, this is who was there. This is what we were doing. This is what we've got. And show your before and after. Like I said, so many people just throw up just that 2-second video clip, that 2-second audio clip, and that's it. Show what happened before. Show you've got your video going, so show what you were doing before that. Show what you did right after that. Show your reactions to it.
Or show the fact that you guys didn't actually see that.
Right.
And that even though it got caught on camera, sometimes we can't even see it with our own eyes, but the equipment is able to capture it there as well.
And that's all also in that voiceover or the title card. We didn't get this in the moment, but when we reviewed, this is what we found.
And like we set it off that same way where we just go back, we investigate someplace, come back and just cut out the 2-second clip that showed the little ball of light going through, or cut out the 5-second clip that had like a little voice. And then after having a year or 2 off because of life situations that came up, I went back and being in media school, learning more about how to produce better quality media, and personally wanting to because that's my passion, being behind the camera, I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I saw that light. Well, what happened before that? What questions were we asking before that? Right. Did anything else happen that led up to this ball of light appearing? Okay, cool.
Context.
We caught this voice. Well, I'm just hearing the voice. Like, did we ask a specific question that caused that voice to happen? What room were we in when that happened? And like the evidence reveals what 90% of like investigators do. And to make that better, like just follow these little tips, like just show a little bit more, have a title card or a voiceover that explains a little bit more of the situation of what was happening at the time. That way people can connect and know just a little bit more on a little bit deeper level of just what happened at the moment that paranormal phenomenon occurred.
I think a couple of our very first videos, we didn't even have a title card. We just put it in the title of the YouTube video and played the clip. Like, it's
Let
processed.
people just decide what they wanted. It was either processed, there was no context, so it probably looked, doctored up, or they said it looked doctored up. It leaves it open to discussion, but that context thing is super huge, because,
Yeah.
They need to see proof of start, middle, end. I mean, it's just a big thing. I mean, and everybody's gonna doubt your stuff. Everybody is, because there's a million, I'm like halfway a skeptic, I don't know possibly if I do or I
Everybody
don't.
in this field needs to be slightly skeptical.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just take everything at face value. Oh, there was a noise right here next to me. That was a ghost, even though I know that somebody else is standing next to me. It's like, okay, maybe they shifted their weight a little bit and caused a 40 feet. Like this field requires just a grain of skepticism with everything.
I heard earlier somebody said, we're just into getting evidence, we're not really into debunking. It's like, pump the brakes, we gotta,
Yeah.
that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You need to try to find a rational explanation.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole, we do this to debunk it.
Right.
That is the whole point of paranormal investigation.
We were at an opera house a few days ago, leading a tour, and there was a bar, and we were investigating the opera house room, and the bar was right there, and we thought there was something at the bar area. I'm like, well, it kind of sounds like dripping, and it's a bar, so there's got to be a sink. So I walked up and like, oh, yeah, water dripping out of the sink. So there it is. And that's another thing, you need to do that on camera. You need to document yourself doing that, so you show people, we're not just taking everything,
That's
as,
saying that it is what it is.
yeah, we're actually, hey, this is me, you want to see what that sound is,
Hey, we can't explain it in the moment. We came back, we watched it again, we showed it to other people, both paranormal investigators and people who don't necessarily believe in the paranormal, and they both agree that they can't explain what it is. Okay, then we now have what we can say is a legit piece of paranormal evidence.
And you guys have all been through it before, those of you guys have done investigations. I was just doing a solo EVP session upstairs, and every little thing I did, if there was a tick that I made, I documented. That was me. There's a car driving by. That's this. Because it's so easy for us to get caught in the whole, did I make that noise?
And then you say right on your recorder, disregard.
Yeah.
Right.
There's your timestamp.
Yeah, and if you don't timestamp it, if you don't have that stuff out, you're not always going to remember in the heat of the moment if you make that sound. And then that's false evidence, and then you're less credited then. And that's not what you want.
you're not intending to, but you're faking evidence at that point, unintentionally.
Even the best evidence without that documentation is worthless.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Anything else you want to add on this one?
No, I think I'm good. What else are we touching on?
Next is for the web series.
And this is taken like a little further for people who are into the production value of it and into like the video production aspect beyond just capturing the evidence to show people and to document evidence at a place.
And this kind of format, I think, honestly, is probably where most paranormal investigators should be at, instead of just having, and a lot of times you'll just have one piece of evidence on a video. Well, you go to a really active location, and now you've got 30 new YouTube videos for somebody to sit there and talk about earlier with shortened attention spans and the instant gratifications. You really don't want to go 20, 25, 30 minutes on a YouTube video. Let's face it, we sit down to watch YouTube because we want to watch a bunch of videos. We don't want to sit down and watch a movie.
When you sit down, like my best way to
Goes that black hole and he's
Oh,
click
yeah.
on and
Especially since you.
Oh yeah, down the rabbit hole.
My best way
Nuclear
to describe
physics all
this
the time.
is like when you sit down on YouTube at night and continue to watch one video, and you end up spending 2 hours on YouTube. Are you watching one 2 hour long video, or are you watching a series of shorter 5 to 10 minute long videos?
started with Batman, you ended up with pit bulls, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, and you're not watching one continuous 2 hour long video.
Yeah.
It's a series of different
It's
videos.
Because it's a bunch of different
Right,
stimulations,
exactly.
it's a bunch of different things.
Yep.
Right.
Because we get, especially nowadays, we get bored super easy.
Yeah.
And with the web series, like we were talking with them a little earlier, this allows you to hook your viewer in at the beginning with a backstory to the location. Because when you go to these locations, I know me personally, I like to know the history of that location. I like to hear about it and see a little bit of location before we jump straight into the evidence. So like when you get to a location, take some photos from of the outside of it, take some photos inside, take a little bit of video if you want. put that up first and then maybe record a voiceover.
Right.
Or have somebody on video saying, hey, we're at this place.
Yeah.
It was built back in this day. It was used as this and this. Like this claims of paranormal activity, like a person got shot here, a person committed suicide, or it was built on like an old gravesite. And that way when the people are watching, they go, oh, cool, this place has a lot of history and a lot of activity associated with it. Now let's see what they caught. So then, as you're watching later on, 5 or 6 minutes in, when you start showing the evidence and experiences that you captured, they can go, whoa, at the beginning they said that this place, like, they'd hear people report people walking down the hallway. They just caught footsteps on their camera and the digital recorder in the hallway. Wow, they just validated these
Again.
stories that people were saying
Yeah.
about this location.
Or people that have been to that location, like, oh, whoa, that happened to me too. You know, wow, somebody documented what happened to me.
And then to take it up just like another level of production value, if you can find like just one person, like to ask a couple questions to, like somebody who works there, somebody who visited there or investigated there before you, and say, hey, we're investigating this place, can we ask you a couple questions about the paranormal? Then you can take some of their story, put that on the video, and then that adds an outside element, a person outside of just your group that can validate the fact that there's stories, that there's hauntings at this location.
Yeah, it's like when you're writing an essay in high school, right? You gotta have your bibliography, your works cited, and you need credible sources, or else you could have just been making all this up. And that's a super, super important thing, and a lot of people just go shoot a documentary.
Yeah, there's
No
no fact
interviews.
that people are saying that's just my belief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they take it as fact.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And then if you have the time and ability to, go around and shoot some, what we call in the industry, B-roll. B-roll is like extra footage that you can use to cover up
Yeah.
shots. If you're talking about room 10, like if you interview somebody, say, oh,
Show a
room
shot
10,
of
this
room 10.
happened.
Some cinematic
Then
work on room 10.
Feel that
should
fact.
put up a photo or put up a video that you guys took in room 10 so
Yeah.
people can associate, okay, room 10, this is room 10, this is what it looks like. In the
This-
industry,
yeah.
it's called C-Dog, Say-Dog. If you hear somebody talking about a dog on TV, then you want to see a dog being shown on TV, so that you have both the audio and the visual connection to what is going on the screen.
And that helps with those interviews too, because watching a talking head gets kind of boring.
Yep.
And especially if they're talking about that room or wherever, again, show that. Show just you walking outside taking shots during the interview and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you've seen interviews with paranormal stuff, or maybe other stuff referencing to a certain moment or to a certain location. Even news crews do the same thing.
Yeah.
At this house in this location, and then you see B-roll of that house, so they have a visual anchor as to what they're looking at, what they're feeling.
Yeah.
So that's super, super important.
And my personal rule of thumb on like the web series videos is I like to keep it under 10 minutes. It's just something for me when I'm on YouTube, if I see something, you know, with 4 digits instead of 3, maybe not.
You know, getting that back.
I mean, yeah, 5 to 15 minutes, you know, but I definitely wouldn't really go past 15, 16 minutes or so.
You fell asleep.
And then, I was going to say something about that.
About time?
So I think you covered it. Yes?
I got a quick question on that. So,
Yeah.
in your experience, have you guys been able to fit an investigation in that 10-minute time frame?
Yeah,
Or do you-
condense it into
Yes.
small document time.
Our YouTube channel is kind of dated. It shows just most of our old stuff. And
Right.
Ours-
a lot of stuff that we were telling you not to do, you'll see on our YouTube channel.
That's
But
good because it's not updated.
we just did
Yeah, that'll be,
a couple-day trip through Nevada to go, where we visited, investigated the Clown Motel, the Tonopah Miners Cemetery, Spooky Hollow at the Amargosa Opera House, and then our room at the Amargosa Opera House. And we spent almost an hour at each of these locations, or longer, shooting with 2 cameras and having an audio recorder. And we're condensing it all down into a short little documentary of our trip, but each section is under 15 minutes.
Nice.
So it is possible to show some of the establishing shots of the location, as well as like the cool and exciting parts of your investigation, and condense it down into 5 to 15 minutes worth of video.
Well, and you have to look to a lot of series on cable, you know, the Travel Channel, what have you, or whatever it has to be. A lot of those things run to, what, like 22 minutes?
Yeah.
And if you're looking for like your 10 to 15 minute, that's not far, they do it. There's a lot more production that goes into it, there's a lot
Right.
more length and certain things, so it's not completely impossible, it's perfectly doable.
Yep.
And real quick, have you guys noticed that a lot of that, because of all the scripting that goes on with that they try to give the impression that, hey, we were here all night, but really, they were there for less than 2 hours.
Right.
That's
Oh,
easy to
yeah.
find out, you know,
Mhm.
these places, especially all of us, we're in this game,
Yeah.
we know we can validate.
In this
Yeah.
field,
You were really there too, but you're trying to come off and say you're there.
in
That's
this-
not cool.
in this field,
Right.
like, you do have to have like professionalism and
Oh,
like
yeah.
What we were
Credibility is everything.
credibility.
Accountability, responsibility.
That's the word I was
Yeah.
looking for, was accountability.
Because where's your integrity if you don't have that?
Because they have horror movies for that.
Yeah.
They have
You
fake
want to be
horror movies for
entertained,
that.
go watch Hollywood.
Exactly. I mean,
If you were, yeah, if, go ahead.
sorry, it is entertainment.
New guy.
I mean, I watch to be entertained, but
Mhm.
it's not just movie entertainment where you just walk out, forget about it, and talk about how cool the special effects were.
Right.
It's something that you leave with feeling validated that you happen to believe in something other than us.
Right, it's like it's an educational experience. You want to be able to educate your viewers. It's like, okay, we're giving you both a historical education about the place that we're at, so now you know about the history of this place. Plus, we're educating you on the paranormal activity that happens at this place and helping validate the fact that paranormal activity does exist.
Because what you're doing there, you're giving your presentation, and then you leave it open for your audience to say, and as always, you decide.
Yeah.
And that sits better with
Yeah, and I work in video production as like my day job. I've been doing this for almost a year now.
Yeah.
And one of my fellow video editors, he is interested in this stuff, and he actually went up with us to the Dickens Theater for his first time actually
Yeah.
being at a place. But I'll show him evidence, and we'll be talking about it. And like, it's like, yeah, let's get your take on this. Let's see what
Yeah.
you have to say about this. That way, I'm not being the only one saying that this is what happened. I have somebody who's a skeptic who
Yeah.
wasn't there saying, oh yeah, I hear that. Oh yeah, I see that. Oh, that happened first, and then this happened.
Yes.
And it was pretty cool. He came into the shoot at the Opera House as a skeptic, and he's like, I don't know that I really want to be involved in much of this stuff. Like, I'll help you guys shoot, but yeah, I'm going to split afterwards. And then we went to a couple of the rooms, and we got done, and we were talking, and he's like, I'm going to go out with you guys sometime.
That's cool.
And we've also been bouncing ideas back and forth on like how to better video production,
Yeah.
like paranormal web series and movies.
It's always a process.
Because too many times you watch a paranormal video on YouTube or a paranormal documentary, it's the exact same as the one that you saw before that, and the one
Yeah.
you saw before that, and the one you saw before that. So how can, like we're working right now to figure out how we can make videos about the
Right.
paranormal that make us stand out and that make people want to come back to keep watching us and
Somebody
learn
needs
stuff
to
from
take
what
a
we
step
hear.
forward. Bring it to
So-
forward.
so even though- I just started recording again.
Oh, you did?
So even though like we're up here telling you guys, like giving you guys tips and advice for how to better yourselves in your videos and be able to pass this along to other people, we're still working on it
Yeah.
ourselves. We're not perfect at this at all.
And still your self-expression, and you still have to have your own unique artistic
Right.
flair or take on it. That's cool, man. You
Yeah.
know, you need to speak your truth.
Exactly.
And one of the really nice things about the web series outlet is it gives you more time.
Yes.
And you know, one of the things you really want to do so that that audience will come back to watch more of your videos is you want to make it an immersive experience. You want to make them feel like they're actually there with you.
They want to experience what you guys are experiencing together. So don't just shoot the place, shoot each other, shoot like
Right.
fun little interactions that you have.
Shows you're real.
If
Yeah.
you get scared by something that's not a ghost, show that.
Yeah.
Like we were joking around before this, like what can we talk about? Like what can we present to people that they're not always going to know, because half the people here are going to be
Right.
pretty well
Very well versed in
in
paranormal
paranormal investigations. Like first thing that came to my mind was, oh, how to deal with bats on a paranormal investigation? Because I am super susceptible to those.
Raw experience.
So let me ask you a quick question. So you have all your equipment set out, plus you have someone documenting the interactions that you guys have. Is that how you guys typically do it?
We are actually working on that. That's something that me and Jordan, my coworker, have been talking about. We're actually thinking about bringing him on to the team as being what we call the creative director,
Yeah.
where his job and purpose is not going to be to investigate the paranormal, but to be to film us and film the location and make it a more immersive experience and make it personal about what's happening between me and Dylan and our investigators as
People
well,
will
so
take
that
you more
people,
serious if you do that
Right.
approach.
so that way
So they're
people can
entertained,
connect with
too.
us as well on a personal level instead of just on
Right.
the paranormal
Yeah,
investigator
and
level.
it's hard to get reactions when we're both reacting to the same thing. Like, well, let's get that on camera, and now let's see what. Oh, you're not making that face
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, so, okay, so you have.
Document
so
the
you would-
documentary.
Right, exactly.
So you guys feel like you have to have that one person that's outside of that
We-
investigative process?
We don't think we have to have it, but we feel like by having that, we can connect more with our
Yeah.
audience, because then they can see us as people as well.
You can see each other's reactions and see later on in the evidence if you had the same reaction
Exactly. It's
to
validation.
whatever it is you saw or captured on film.
It's
Or same
validation of
spot,
yourself,
two
too.
people have this experience in the same spot. You
Absolutely.
can't necessarily tell where we're at from our camera.
Right,
But if you have someone that's back here, you can see, oh, well, he's right there by that pillar.
exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then that's a good segue into like the third way, the third type of video production that
I have
we
terrible
wrote down,
handwriting.
which is like documentary film, making a documentary film. And for a documentary film, you want to shoot for at least 40 minutes plus, and you really, really, really want to start off with the location and tell the story of the location, because now you have time. It's not you trying to get a lot of evidence out in a short, or a lot of video footage out in a short period of time to keep somebody's attention for 5 minutes on YouTube.
Right.
If you make a documentary film,
I'm doing an hour
people
plus.
are going to be watching that film and be expecting to be sitting there for an hour or longer. And, yep. I'm figuring out how to segue into that
Oh.
point.
Well, like we talked about before, filmmaking is storytelling. You want to tell a story.
And with the documentary film outlet, you can now tell a story. You can like take more time, shoot more
Full
video,
time.
show more of the location. You can interview. Like my rule of thumb is at least 3 people, because then you can show 3 different people talking about different experiences. Maybe they had similar experiences in
Right.
the same area. Well, now the viewer's going, wait, so 2 different people outside of a paranormal investigator experienced the same thing in the same spot. Okay, I wonder if the team is going to experience something like that too. And then shoot a lot of B-roll, research the location. Voiceover is the better information, way of expressing information and sharing information about the location than title cards, because you don't want to look at a title card for 2 minutes. You'd rather,
Yeah.
if you're watching a movie, you want to see cuts like every 3 to 5 to 10 seconds of different video clips, otherwise you can get bored and start messing with your phone and pull your phone out.
Yeah.
And with the voiceover, you can do your research, just get like a digital recorder, sit down in a quiet room and just say, we went to the Dickens Theater, or the Dickens Tavern in Longmont, Colorado. The tavern was built back in the 1800s on a plot of land that was granted to, I forget the owner's name, Mr. Dickens, by Ulysses S. Grant himself. There's a lot of activity that's said to have happened here, including a man committing suicide in the bank vault, which is now the wine cellar, a man catching his wife, who used to be a stage performer, and one of the stagehands getting on backstage to remove both of them. And then you can now go in depth with the history and the paranormal occurrences that people have had there, and then bring on your
Right.
interviewees and interview a couple different people so that you have different sources validating the fact that there's stuff that happens here.
Yeah, yeah, and B-roll is your friend in that, like, for the documentary that we're doing on the Dickens, we're probably going to do 45 minutes or so. I bet we probably have 3 hours of B-roll shots.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to document the trip that you're taking, because we've discussed us being along for the ride already. Show you guys getting your gear together in the hotel room. Document what you use on this specific location. Maybe you don't need your spirit box with you at this time or whatever. I mean, maybe you just only need certain little things.
Yeah, your basics, huh?
Yeah, document it and then tell the people why. Why are you
Thought
only
process.
packing these 3 things? Why are you only packing 3 cameras and a digital recorder?
Right.
Document the trip, because this isn't, it's not just,
Life's journey, man. You want to be doing
it's
it.
not,
And even just for yourself, too.
that's what I
So
was
you
gonna
can
say.
remember 5 years down the road, who's going to
Check
remember
the growth
this
process.
investigation.
Yeah, you get to watch it, and now it's like watching home movies for you.
Yes.
Because then it's like, oh, I remember when you almost fell out the window at that hotel room, trying to get the cords rolled up. And then
You got
people,
that
other
access.
people get to see that, and then we have this. There's that connection, there's that
And there's
real.
more bonding because now they know your team. Like, oh yeah, just like on TV, like Ghost Adventures, kind of feel like Zach or Nick or Aaron, Ghost, yeah.
Like what Daniel was saying, he triggered something, a memory when I first saw Paranormal State, when they first came out. One thing I always liked that grabbed my attention, he would break away a director's take, and he would break away like on a radio. That was cool because you're like, he's giving some more history there. And the way that it sounded resided more in my brain to be able to connect to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were the only ones that really did that. That took me back to the things I grew up on. Shows,
Yeah.
Search of the Knowles, other ones, Arthur C. Clarke. I'm way back before you guys, but
Yeah.
Well, that was the foundation, and what you guys are seeing now,
Well, the
that's cool.
beautiful part of it is that because it's a real thing that
Yes.
we're doing. It's not watching, like for me, music is my bag, like that's my job, right? And so watching those people on stage is like insane. And then trying to get into it, now I can put in what I want to see, what I wanted to see out of those artists.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So in this case, when you're shooting that documentary, the web series, whatever, you get to put in what you feel like you didn't get out of the others. And it keeps getting better and better and better. And you're set apart from all of these other people, and then next thing you know, you're a household name.
That resonates with me. I like how you say that, because that's...
Legacy.
Yes.
And like at the Dickens Film Festival, if you're making a long video or film on the paranormal, you need a story. Because I was talking with the director of the film festival, and he was telling me about this guy who submitted a film for it. And he goes, it was a really great film. He was documenting his experiences on location, but it's not film festival worthy because it doesn't tell a story. There's no story behind it. It's cool to watch that and see that he's catching this stuff, but there's no story behind it. No
It's just
real
image.
value to try to connect to people or to show it off to a wide variety of people.
Because you can still do that even if it's just you, just one person. You can still tell the story, you can still make it interesting.
Which is why you need the B-roll, you need to know the history, you need to have a couple interviews, you need to have it be more than just you documenting the evidence, you need to make it personal.
Yeah, and be passionate, be personal, let that show. We all enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
So the people that watch it, they should say, oh, hey, it looks like he's having a good time, and he looks like he enjoys what he's doing. I enjoy it too.
We learn off of each other.
And everything you guys are talking about, what I've been listening to you say today, you can apply it to any of the other fields.
Any of
See,
them.
that's taboo in some circles. They're like, well, you just stick to hauntings, you stick to ufology, cryptozoology. Why?
Right.
Why should you? What you guys are talking about, that's a stylization that you can say, hey, we're being unique, we can apply this to any of them.
Because
Yes,
it's,
and
tell
not
that
even
story.
just the whole paranormal. Just
Tell that story.
any day.
because it's an art. I mean,
Yes.
you guys are passionate about what you do as far as this field.
Absolutely.
So how selfish would it be to not share that passion with everybody else?
Right.
Because there's that one person that's watching the video or buys the documentary or is doing it with a crappy phone camera and a flashlight
Yeah.
that sees your stuff and they see that you're passionate about it and,
Right.
and you connect.
Yeah, I want to do that too.
And being passionate about it, and like, not just trying to be that ghost hunter that everybody thinks of that goes out there with the equipment to capture that piece of evidence, like that turns people off if you try to talk to them. If you're passionate about it and love what you do and show it, it can get you places that you wouldn't expect to. Like when we went to the Amargosa Opera House, there's an off-limits section called Spooky Hollow, which is the old and renovated part. They don't allow anybody back there. Well, we went there and we had no intention of being able to get back there to investigate because we did a research into the history of it, and we're like, okay, we wish we could get back there, but they don't let people back there, so we'll just investigate our room because the rooms are said to be haunted. Well, we went up and were talking to the lady at the front desk, and one of our other passions is documenting historic sites and abandoned sites. And our motto is exploring the past to preserve the future. And we were asking her questions about the history of the hotel, asking her questions about the history of the town, because it's a ton of history. And she goes, you know, I really love what you do. You have a passion for what you're doing, and I love that you're telling the story of the location too. And we mentioned we were paranormal investigators. We were talking about the hauntings at the hotel. And she's like, I love what you do, and we don't do this for anybody, but I'll let you go back to Spooky Hollow for a little bit to record and do what you love, because like
Your passion.
this is your passion and I love that.
What you just said there, that happened about a couple months ago when some of the folks from Colorado come up here, the first time I met some of these people here. And we're sitting there sharing about a lot of the places that Fogg investigated, and these people were like, how did you get in there? And they asked the same place, I was like, they just talked.
Right.
They just talked.
Yeah, be passionate, be
Be
personal.
Like what you just said, that's it, brother, that's it.
And then
That's cool,
That
man.
is awesome.
saving the best for last. When you're out there, always make sure you have a lot of batteries.
Yes.
Yes.
Because what good is a $500 camera, $1,000 camera if you have one battery that dies and you're not there?
Especially when,
And memory cards, because if you can't record, there's no point to
Didn't happen.
getting that camera.
We had that happen a couple times on our documentary. Pull up the camera to shoot something, memory card full.
Where you
Okay,
just
we brought
pulled up to
theirs.
the location and it was already, I'm like, what the heck?
Right.
Now
Yep.
it's
Right.
just-
I had a battery die upstairs for me. Just like, what, an hour ago?
Yeah, the 2 batteries died within
2
like
batteries
20
drained
minutes.
up there in that room.
I brought power with us tonight, so if we need stuff to help somebody, we got it right there to help them.
Yeah, so batteries are good, batteries.
Always, yeah.
And then
If you have too much, it's still not enough.
yes,
You can
better
never
have
have
too much than too little.
Never have too much stuff.
So thank you guys for coming and
Thank
listening
you
to the
guys.
talk.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, we'll be here like all night.
We'll be talking to you more.
We'll be here all night.
Are we
I
sleeping
actually-
here again?
I actually have a couple
so
of
we're sleeping
questions
here
for you,
again.
but it's a little.
Bring liquor,
Okay.
please.
Yes.
Bring spirit.
And I already
No
figured
liquor.
out where all the spirits
Spirits.
reside here. It's in the restaurant behind the bar.
That's real.
Yes.